welcome! I wasn't planning to film a video today, but then I wasn't planning to come into the woods and start sawing up logs either. So decided I best get the camera out because I'd like to document this whole process. This large log of wood is a branch I sawed from a pine tree last year. It was overhanging in the wrong direction and likely to fall on the polytunnel. It's been lying here on the ground ever since. Now I'm all excited about carving wood on my new lathe. I've got my eye out to find suitable pieces of wood. So this morning I came along with my saw and sliced a chunk off the end of this big long log. So here's my piece of Pinus radiata that I'm going to obviously cut even smaller because it won't fit on my lathe. But I've got one nice smooth end cut to start with. I've learnt that although it looks like it, this circle is not going to be the face of my bowl blank. The centre of this piece of wood, I'll see if I can get up closer to you. I've learnt that the very centre of this piece of wood is not good for making bowls out of. As the bowl matures and dries, it's likely to crack and split and not be strong. So what I need to do is cut along here this half moon shape that becomes the shape of the bowl. Let's see how we get on, and if this, I'll be really thrilled if this does turn into a beautiful bowl. A bowl made from a branch of tree that I planted as a seed many years ago. I think the next thing I need to do is make this log a bit shorter so I have a more sensible chunk to be working with. Well, here's me and my primitive measure. Put on the spike at the end. We'll spin all the way around and clear the bottom plate. So there's my ruler. It's going to become very precious, this stick. Whoa, it's a lot longer than I thought it would be. So that's good because it means I can make bigger things. I know I can spin things on the lathe that are a decent length. Spindles, I don't know, rolling pins. But I'm limited to how fat things can be from the distance from the centre point where the lathe spins around and the base of the lathe. So nothing can be bigger than that. So this is my measuring stick. So from the end flat of my piece of wood to the end of my stick, which is a lot further than I thought it was going to be. So that's wonderful. Is where I need to saw all this off. So let's see what we get. Get my leg out of the way, don't want to saw that. I don't usually saw this first. I've just made the video really speedy. It's great. Makes me look like Superwoman. Remember, I've already sliced it off the tree. My arm's tired. It's not the sharpest saw in the world either. As you see, we're a bit rusty. Yay! Woohoo! My log! Yay! It's lovely and dry and bug-free. Firewood. So now I can cut down the log, avoiding this centre core. Don't know if I'll do it now. I think I need to stop for a rest. Come back to that bit in a minute. I need to cut the bottom off my bowl as well. Easier to cut this when it's part of a log, when it's already cut in half. So I'm going to cut that now. Well, I've moved work site, mainly because I wanted to come and get a sharper saw. Having decided this side is going to be my bowl blank and This is scrap for the minute because it's got the central core of the log in it. So I've sliced off the bark on this side to give me what will be the flat base of my future bowl. I've been sawing down the length of the log here. I'm almost through. Now the screwdriver is sticking in the top because I stuck that in the top in order to open up the log because it was starting to pinch the saw. So now I can actually slide straight through without any resistance, and we're nearly there. So I thought I'd switch you back on for the last few draws of the saw. Yay! There's an interesting curve in this log that I noticed when I started sawing. It's actually here on the outside as well. So I don't know how much that's going to affect the finished size of my bowl. So this is actually the scrap bit because it's got the core in it. This is the piece I'm going to hopefully turn into a bowl. Yay! Next job to work out. This will be the bottom of my bowl, the outer bark, and this will be the top. So bowl like that. So now I need to take off the excess wood around these corners. Make it sort of hexagony, I think, because there's no point working on the lathe blunting chisels when I could just saw that off to start with. I'm really pleased, it's looking good. Yay! From tree to bowl. I wonder. This bark's starting to peel off, so I'll remove it completely actually now. It's a bit green and mouldy in there. Might add some pattern to the finished product. An interesting learning point I have just come across. This is my new log bowl blank, and as I said, I want to make a circle here for the outside edge of my bowl. And when I cut the length of log, I chose the maximum that my lathe will take using my fancy stick measure. But of course, maximum size of my finished bowl is the width of my log, which is a lot less. So actually, I've gone and got, this is my first bowl that I made with the bowl blank. I went to get that to use as a circle template. And I'm going to end up with a similar size bowl from my log. It might be, depending on how the wood behaves, it might be slightly taller and deeper than this bowl, but it's going to be the same diameter, circumference, diameter, around. So actually, this is excess wood. But that's interesting. I've now learnt that actually I could have cut my log much shorter. I've got lots of log left, so it's not a problem, but it would have saved me that bit of sawing here through the middle. I wouldn't have had to saw as far down here. I'd only had to saw to here, and this wouldn't exist. So I could have saved myself that bit of sawing. Hey ho, live and learn. So, which bit do I want to make my bowl? So finally, after lots and lots of sawing, I have a bowl blank of sorts. The beginnings of a bowl. Be interesting on the lathe. I'm definitely going to be slightly off balance to start with. In fact, very off balance to start with. See how I get on cutting this into shape. It won't be today. I've got lots of other jobs I'm supposed to be doing, and this was not part of the plan. Glad I've done it though. So I'll catch up with you when I'm ready to turn this into a bowl. Bye for now, and I'll see you in a few days. You'll see me just like that. So here we are back a couple of days later, all set up in the greenhouse to hopefully turn this bowl blank into a bowl. First I need to mark its centre point so I can add the faceplate in the right position. So that's my middle. So there we have it, all screwed on nice and tight, ready to attach to the lathe. Tighten it on with the spanners. I've got myself properly prepared today with my gloves, my ear defenders and my face shield to keep that sawdust out of my eyes. Next, to line up my chisel rest so that that lumpy bumpy piece of wood is not touching it in any way as it spins around at great speed. And bringing in this end block. I don't know what its proper name is, maybe it is end block. Now I'm not spiking it deeply into the wood because I don't want to create a hole in what will be the bottom of my bowl. But I've brought it up pretty close, just in case something falls off or slips. And we're off. Oh, maybe not. With this off-balance piece of wood, there's a lot of vibration happening. So I switched you off and went and made some modifications to my working station. I rolled back my mat and placed 2 big concrete blocks on the floor. This should give me a more flat, stable, secure work surface. Now my lathe does come with screws and it should be bolted down onto a workbench to keep it stable. But I'm not doing things the way I'm supposed to. So here we go. That's much better. To start with, things are a bit rough and bumpy as I chisel away at this lump of wood to try and make it into something a bit smooth and properly round. So I'll bring you back when we're getting a little bit more bowl-shaped. This is better. Things are starting to look a little promising now. This dark patch is the natural curve of the tree. And on its opposite side I've managed to gouge out a big chunk into the wood, quite unintentionally. But between them they're creating a balance in my piece of wood. So hopefully things will still work out just fine. From here on in, watching through my filming was very jittery and jumpy and choppy and cuts. Not very pleasant as a viewer at all. So I've decided a series of still photographs was better to show the different stages the bowl is going through as it takes on its final shape. So here it is again with that big nasty gouge I created. But with some intensive work in that section, it's starting to reduce. Here it is again for the last time, almost gone completely. This photo shows that darker patch, which is actually where the bark came off the side of the log. Decided this bit looked quite fun, so I left it in. Pop! Love it when that little bit just flies off the end. I've decided to bring in the top edge of the bowl so I can carve away that patch where the bark was sitting. So now it's gone from this shape to this one, quite a difference. Finally finished shaping the outside of the bowl. Now for a quick sanding, which definitely brought things up lovely and shiny and smooth. Now to move on to the next stage in my process and glue this bowl onto my square block of wood, ready to carve out the insides. Firstly, I need to get everything lined up nice and centred. It's a bit of a fiddle, as you can see, but well worth it. Moving the end block into place to hold everything nice and tight and secure, and added gentle tap just to knock everything perfectly in line. I'm using my hot glue gun and hot glue to glue the bowl blank onto this square block of wood that I've already screwed onto the faceplate. This method has worked very nicely for my first 2 bowls. Now, because I haven't yet screwed my lathe onto anything, I found last time when I was carving out the middle of a bowl, my lathe kept pushing backwards. I've come up with a plan to solve that problem, a big heavy brick. The towel is merely to stop the brick from scratching the back of the lathe. There, that should stop things moving around a bit. So finally, let's get carving again. I'm always slightly more nervous and cautious at this stage of the process. I've put in so much effort and care making the outside lovely. It would be such a tragedy to ruin it now by spoiling the inside. Well, hey, look at all that flying sawdust. Whoa, what happened there? That's not good. Let's see that again. Oh, go on, just one more time, super slow. Whee! Look at it fly. Makes me giggle every time. Well, that glue didn't hold, and I know exactly why. When I was carving the outside, I became aware the wood was drying out a little too fast, so I gave it a coat of oil. I tried my best not to get it on the very bottom of the bowl, knowing I was going to glue it. But oil being oil, it just got everywhere. Not to worry, I've come up with a plan of how to get around the problem. I'm first screwing my base plate to this small square of plywood. I'm going to carve a recess in this plywood to act as a countersink for some screws. I can then screw those screws directly into the bottom of my bowl. This does mean I'm going to have to cut the very bottom of my bowl off, as it will be full of screw holes. But at the very least, it's got to be worth a try. If I was making a larger bowl, I could probably just screw the actual base plate into the bottom of the bowl. But as it is, the base of my bowl is too small to fit my base plate. That's why I'm adding this extra piece of wood between the two. So here we have it, my bowl, a square of plywood, and then the base plate, all screwed together. So let's give this a try and hope it works better than the glue. I'm still giggling about that bowl flying off. Now, finally, back to carving out that middle. Oh no, another problem. Not a chisel slip, a wood knot that's fallen out of the edge. Big chunk missing in my bowl. Never mind, let's keep going. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. Reduce the height of the edge? Or quite what? I'm not sure. Let's just keep going and make a decision as we go. I think a little music is called for while I carve out the middle. Well, that's my bowl all hollowed out. I've left that notch in the rim. I actually rather like it. Now for a little oiling on the inside. Bring out the grain and keep that wood moist while it continues to dry out. Ooh, nice, shiny bowl. Lovely. Now to cut it off those screws I put into the bottom. Hope I didn't carve too deep and end up with a hole in the bottom of my bowl. This is a great idea. Switch the lathe on and then I won't have to be sawing by hand. I did find I needed to turn the saw upside down, so the teeth of the saw would be working in the right direction while the lathe span round at high speed. It worked really well. I'd definitely do it again. So here it is, my beautiful little bowl. From tree to bowl. A bit of hand sanding on the bottom here and it'll be lovely. I'm really pleased. It's absolutely gorgeous. Not bad, considering it's only the third bowl I have ever made on the lathe. I planted a seed, grew a tree, and now I've turned it into a bowl. I mean, just how amazing is that? Wow! I'm thrilled, totally thrilled. I love it. Well, if you've watched this far, thank you very much indeed. It's been lovely to have you along on my journey. I hope it will encourage you to go and plant a tree. There's just no knowing what it might become in the years ahead. A beautiful bowl, a kitchen table, a log for the fire. Bye for now, and we'll see you next time. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it. Love it. I just love it. Got to see it one more time.